Hello and welcome back to Cooking Like a Boss from the Community Church, warming your ovens with the warmth of Sharon's heart. We'd like to welcome her back today, and she's going to show us how to make
and mashed potato.
Yes, we are so excited for this. Our bellies are rumbling just looking at the food that's prepared. We have Toby on the tech and Jeff on the cameras and me making awkward chat. So let's go, Sharon, take it away.
Okay. Well, nice to be back this week. I hope you enjoyed the curry last week. Just have a go at it. It's really easy. Now, I know I said beef stew with dumplings, but there is a beef stew in the oven at the moment. So I'm going to show you how to make the dumplings first because I want you to see them at the end where they fluff up. All right. So to it. Now, do it if you want, but obviously if you're doing a beef stew, then you do really want the beef suet. That's okay if you really don't want a strong taste. Sorry, I'm just going to get some water. So let's move away and scales out of the way. So you've just mixed the flour and the suet just gently with your fingers. And then I am just going to pour a little bit of water in to make it all stick together, if that makes sense. Don't add too much water, just do a little bit at a time, because if you do too much water, you're just going to end up with a real soggy mess, and then you won't know, you won't be able to cover it, and that means then you'll have to start all over again. So just do it a little bit at a time. So you can see it slowly coming together. I'll lift it out of the bowl in a second. It's a while since I've made these, actually. So myself, we do save the dumplings for winter time at home. Sorry?
When did you learn to make this dish?
I don't know. I've always made it, if you know what I mean. I've always made a stew. I don't always do. Sometimes I do on the top of the stew, I'll do like sliced potatoes instead. But the dumplings are nice in it, so let's get the flour.
Sounds good.
If you want to add a little bit of extra flavour to your dumplings, you can actually put a little thyme in. And if you notice from the ingredients of the stew, we've actually got thyme in the stew itself. So if you want to, you can put a bit of thyme in your dumplings. That's the way. Now, as you can see, it sticks like mad to your fingers, so just have to. If we just put a little bit of thyme. As you can see, I'm not exactly tidy when I'm doing this. I'm just like messing with it, really. So there's your thyme going in. The smell of the thyme is gorgeous. It's really, really nice. So there you go. There's the makings of the dumpling as such, but we are going to actually divide it up because we have 4 3 very hungry interns here and another person in their house as well, which I know will be really pleased about dumplings in his stew.
So excited.
I think if we can get 8 out of this mixture, that'd be quite nice, won't it? Because that'll each everybody. Yeah. So.
Well, 6 for me and 2 for Jeff.
That's not fair.
Well, it'd be the other way around, right?
Jeff is protesting.
Jeff is protesting, he says.
So they don't look anything at the moment, do they? Can you see? They just look like little blobs. So I bet when you get home, you'll be fighting for the biggest ones, won't you? Because they do really puff up. So 2, 3, 4, 6. Oh, that's just right. There's the.
Oh, look at that. Professional.
I don't feel professional. Right. So let's just move that out of the way a little. So I'm going to go to the hob and I'm going to lift out the stew and I'll put it by the camera so you can actually see it. Okay. So can you see that stew now? Does that look nice? And you see the Baileys sticking up in it. So all we're going to do is we're going to just pop the dumplings on top of the stew. Oh, move over. We need to get them all in. So I've got one there. So I'll just come back to that camera and let you just see. So there is the dumplings paste on top. We're going to put the lid on because if you put the lid on, it makes them fluff up even more. If you leave the lid off, you get quite crusty. So I'm sure we want them more fluffy than anything, don't we? So that's really easy, isn't it? You can do that?
Yeah, I reckon we could do that. Oh no.
Okay, so that's all it's done. Well, I'm now going to show you how to dip the stew. So when Harry put the list on the page, I thought that list is going to frighten everybody because it's just got so many ingredients on it. But the best way to do it is just to divide it up into bits. So you've got your vegetables. So your vegetables are first. Get your vegetables all chopped ready, as I haven't. We're just going to chop them now. But again, like we did last week, just chunky bits of vegetables, nothing neat and tidy, just chunks of lovely fresh vegetables. And I'm sorry, this also has celery in it from last week. Like some people don't like celery, I know, but it gives such a nice flavour to stews and hot pots and things. Just try and bear with it. I mean, even if you don't eat it when you've served it up, it's just that flavour there that just enhances the hot pot. And also, I put on the information as well, small onions. Well, I've actually used shallots because the shallots give an absolute gorgeous flavour to hot pot. But you can use like normal onions, but the very like the small ones rather than a great big one. But I think using a whole onion is better, and it stays in its format round in the hot pot. Whereas if you do slices of onions, they tend to break down very quickly, and by the time you've cooked the hot pot for 2 hours, you'll have no onions left really. Now this leek, I know it says 2 leeks on the information, but I've only actually put 1 in because it was quite a thick one. So that's all the veg is ready. So the onions go in like whole. I've got 2 cloves of garlic there ready to press in. I'll take the flour with me. I'll take this spoon with me because we're going over to the hob, okay? Right. Actually at the hob. So first of all, we want to warm through our olive oil. And I know it says on the information a tablespoon and 25 grams of butter, but I just put in what I think is about right. I'm sort of like I'm winging it a little bit, but okay, so that should warm through. It doesn't take long at all to warm through. I found last week that it's totally different cooking here. The hob is different, the temperatures are different, and my curry, I burnt it to the bottom of the pan a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. James and I certainly had it last week when I got. We actually had it on Monday for our tea because I put it in the fridge overnight, and I just simmered it gently Monday for our tea, and it was really, really tasty. So sometimes the curry is nicer the second day because it's just like had a double whammy of simmering. Right, so you can hear the oil and the butter sizzling quite nicely. So we'll just chuck in the meat. Now then, if you've got a lot of meat, say if you're cooking for 8, for instance, don't do it all at once. Do it in batches because you can't. It isn't any good to overcrowd your pan. I've got a nice big pan here, so and the meat all fits in nicely. So it's okay. But if you had like double the amount of meat in here, the meat wouldn't like it. You've got to do it so it's got plenty of space to turn round. So what you're doing here is we're actually browning the meat off first before we actually do anything else with it. So we just want to seal all those lovely pieces of meat, make them nice and brown. Right, just 1 or 2 pieces, not quite there. Come on.
Always some.
There we go. That's it. Right, so the meat's browned off really nice. Now, I know last week I said I don't really use any thickenings. Well, this week I am actually going to use a little bit of flour. You can use gluten-free flour. When my eldest daughter is at home, she's celiac, so I use all gluten-free products. So the gluten-free flour is fine. But I'm saying that I've never made dumplings with it as yet. So that is my new trial for this winter when she's able to come home again, because obviously she's in lockdown too at the moment. So, and she's very busy at work. So I don't think we'll see her perhaps till Christmas now. So all that flour has soaked up all those lovely juices of the oil and the butter. You want to salt and pepper it. Don't forget, if you salt and pepper when you're cooking, you don't have to have any salt and pepper on your table, and you use less when you actually cook with salt and pepper. So, and then we're going to press 2 cloves of garlic in. But I think we'll just chuck that rest in because you can't have too much garlic really, can you? Hope everybody's all right with garlic. Okay, yeah.
It looks amazing.
I can't bash it with my hands. I'm afraid I have to use the yes. So there we go. We've got garlic, salt and pepper. Right now, we're going to actually put in the vegetables and cook them. Just for a minute or two, not long, just a couple of minutes. So this is where the fun starts. This is when I end up flicking it over everywhere.
Vegetables on the loose.
So you see what I mean when I say get your vegetables ready first, do all your preparation first. So you break it down into areas. So of course all my veg was ready just to pop in the pan, which is ideal, isn't it? You know, otherwise you'd have to take the meat off the heat, then you'd have to start chopping your veg and everything. Whereas I've got it all worked out ready, so it's just a case of quick and into the oven. So, and of course if there's a couple of you in the house, then you get people to help with the preparation. You don't do it all on your own. So like if the potatoes need peeling for the mashed potato, then you get somebody else to do that. Don't do it all on your own. So I'm going to put the stock in. Well, there's your stock going in. And it does say a red wine. Now, if people do not want to put wine in their stew, you can get a wine alternative, which is non-alcoholic. That I used to use that years ago, and I'm not sure, perfectly honest, I'm not even sure whether you can it, but I'm sure you can still get it. Or you can get non-alcohol-free wine and pop that in as well. So in goes the wine. So we just got to cook that for a minute or two. To just simmer nicely. Let's bring this up again. And of course, because you cook that flour when it was on the meat, it will slowly thicken your stock as it slowly cooks in the oven. So you don't need to put corn flour in or anything because after this cooks for 2.5 hours in total. So you're able to comes up really, really nice. And also there was fresh herbs on the, sorry, I'm just going to come back here, if that's okay, for a few minutes. Turn that down. Now, fresh herbs, I've chopped the parsley already, which is 3 tablespoons. I haven't actually done the thyme as yet. The thyme, you can, if you get the ends of it, it's quite flexible and it's quite nice. And that's what you want. You don't want the woody ends of it because it's just like having a twig in your tea. And that's not nice at all, is it? I don't think you'd be thankful for a twig in your tea. So that's, if the leaves don't come off, then just we'll just have to chop them up. The other thing is, at home, if you don't want to use fresh herbs are wonderful. But if you're wanting to do a quick tea and you haven't got any in, you can use dry herbs. The ratio for dry herbs to fresh herbs is, instead of 3 tablespoons of fresh herbs, it's 1 teaspoon of dry herbs. So I've made this with dry herbs mostly, but I just thought it'd be nice to have a go at using the fresh herbs for a bit of a change and just seeing what the taste is. And I'm sure it'll be taste slightly different to the, the dried herbs. I'm sure it'd be lovely. So there we go. So I'm just going to chop those up a little bit more, because I've got a few stalks in there and what have you. So there's the fresh herbs going in. So that's the thyme, and then the parsley. So if you try and do it so that you've got things prepared, you've got things ready in certain places. So you want your vegetables ready, your things by your oven ready that you're going to use. It does make it very easy. Otherwise, you'll end up with things scattered all over the kitchen. You won't know where you're up to, and you won't know what you've put in and what you haven't put in.
Sounds exactly how I make food.
So if you work it in stages, then it's a lot easier, isn't it? So that is just coming up to the boil. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit faster. So this will do James and I like 2 meals. We'll have it one meal as an actual hot pot or hot stew, and we'll have mashed potato with it. And then the other idea I had was obviously the rest of it goes into a freezer tray, and then I lift it out in the morning before I go to work. When I come home, it's nicely defrosted, and I can just warm it through very gently. Sometimes I just warm it through on the hob. I don't want it to go in the oven again, because obviously it is cooked. But then you put the oven on anyway, and you make those fabulous big Yorkshire puddings, and you can serve Yorkshire puddings with hot pot inside it. So that's a nice, easy and quick tea, isn't it? So there you go. That's coming up to the boil nicely. Right. So once it's come up to the boil, you just need to turn the gas jet off, put your Bailey's leaves in. And I usually stand mine up like that so that when the hot pot is cooked, you can actually get hold of them and you can just pull them out. Because sometimes you end up with a bay leaf actually in your dinner, don't you? And it's not particularly... Oh, I know. I've missed. It says a dash of Worcester sauce. It says to taste. So I'm going to put, because it's to taste, I'm going to put half a tablespoon in, just to give it a taste. And the balsamic vinegar, I'm just going to give it a splash, because I am not a fan of balsamic vinegar, but I don't mind a little bit of it. So that's just a little bit of a splash of it there. So that's your hot pot ready. Well, your hot stew ready, your beef stew ready. Let's see if these are ready. Oh, wow. These look absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to put them there for a minute. I'm going to put my lid on that pan, because that belongs to that pan. And look at these dumplings now. Can you see those? They're absolutely fabulous. And that's your hot pot, your hot stew, sorry, with your dumplings. I'll put that here for a minute. So, stew and your mashed potato. And I've just finished the mashed potato off with a bit of sprigs of parsley in it. Ow! So that's us done. That's it.
Wow, that looks amazing. That's incredible. Thank you so much for that. Join us next week for another episode of Cooking Like a Boss. I can't remember who we're joined by. Is it Ali next week, maybe? Or maybe she's the week afterwards. At some point, we've got the fabulous... Yeah, I think it's a fabulous Ali Rothwell next week. If it's not, then you can blame me for that one. But thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy your beef stew. Wait.